The camera captured something truly heartbreaking. There was Hailey Van Lith, the fearless basketball player who had dominated college basketball and wasn't afraid to talk trash to anyone, completely falling apart on national television. She sat staring into an arena so empty you could actually hear the hot dog vendors counting their tips. The harsh truth hit her like a train carrying nothing but brutal honesty. Without Caitlyn Clark in the building, nobody cared enough to show up. The tears weren't from losing a game or playing poorly. They were from realizing that all those years of hard work, all those important shots she made, all that confidence she had built up, meant absolutely nothing if the one person who brought attention to women's basketball wasn't there to make people care. What happens when someone who thinks they're a star discovers they're actually just a side character in someone else's story? Hailey Van Lith has taken a unique path through women's basketball that shows what happens when confidence meets reality. Standing just 5 feet 7 inches tall, she was never the tallest player on the court, but her mouth was consistently the biggest. In basketball, this sometimes means leadership, and sometimes it just gives opponents extra motivation to beat you. Her college career started at Louisville, where she averaged 13.7 points per game and became known as a fearless shooter. She would take shots that made coaches both proud and terrified at the same time. Van Lith's playing style mixed real scoring ability with the kind of swagger that either scared opponents or made them want to prove her wrong, depending on how the game was going. After transferring to LSU for her senior season, Van Lith helped lead the Tigers to success while averaging 14.9 points and 4.2 rebounds per game. Her leadership and scoring were important to LSU's performance, though she also learned that being the loudest player doesn't always make you the most important one. She declared for the WNBA draft after her senior season and was picked by the Washington Mystics, where she discovered that professional basketball works by different rules than college ball. Specifically, the rule that confidence needs to be backed up by consistent performance against players who are all elite athletes. Her move to professional basketball included the standard challenges that most college stars face, plus the extra difficulty of learning when to talk and when to let her game do the talking in a league where everyone can play and attitude alone doesn't win games. Caitlyn Clark's impact on WNBA attendance has been so dramatic that it basically created 2 different leagues, games with Clark and games that feel like small family gatherings where everyone knows each other's middle names. The numbers are embarrassing for everyone else involved. Games featuring Clark and the Indiana Fever averaged 17,036 fans per game during her rookie season. This sounds impressive until you realize that other teams were playing in front of crowds that wouldn't fill a high school gym in some cases. The difference became so obvious that opposing players started needing therapy to deal with the damage to their egos. Road games featuring Clark consistently sold out arenas that had been struggling to give away tickets just months earlier. This created the awkward situation where teams would see their best attendance of the season when they hosted Indiana, then go back to playing in front of crowds that included their immediate family members and whoever got lost looking for the bathroom. The television ratings tell an even more brutal story. Clark's games regularly drew over 1 million viewers, while other games attracted audiences that network executives describe as statistically unimportant or within the margin of error for ratings. This gap has created an uncomfortable reality where most WNBA players have discovered they're basically opening acts for the Caitlyn Clark show. Sports analysts wonder whether this attendance gap represents a temporary adjustment period or a permanent reminder that star power in professional sports creates harsh realities for everyone who isn't the star, regardless of their individual talent levels or personal confidence. Playing professional basketball in front of empty seats creates a unique psychological challenge that combines the pressure of performing at the highest level with the crushing realization that nobody particularly cares about your performance. It's like giving a passionate speech to an audience of janitors who are just waiting for you to finish so they can clean up. Van Lith, who built her college reputation on feeding off crowd energy and using opponent reactions to fuel her competitive fire, has discovered that silence can be more demoralizing than any hostile crowd. When there's nobody there to impress or intimidate, basketball becomes just a job where you dribble a ball for money while wondering if your parents are still proud of your career choices. The acoustics of empty arenas mean that every conversation, every coaching instruction, and every frustrated comment becomes audible to television audiences. This creates situations where players must maintain professional composure while secretly wondering if they should have studied something more practical like accounting. Professional athletes who have experienced both packed arenas and empty ones describe the psychological difference as comparable to performing Shakespeare for a packed theater versus practicing lines alone in your bathroom mirror. The fundamentals are the same, but the emotional experience bears no resemblance to what you signed up for. The challenge becomes even more complex when empty arenas coincide with live television coverage, creating the surreal experience of knowing that hundreds of thousands of people are watching you play in an arena where you could literally have a conversation with someone in the upper deck without raising your voice. Van Lith's situation represents the uncomfortable truth that professional sports often reveal about individual importance versus team success versus league popularity. Being really good at basketball doesn't automatically translate to being really important to basketball, which is a lesson that's typically taught through harsh experience rather than gentle instruction. The WNBA's current dynamic has created a situation where talented players like Van Lith find themselves in the position of supporting characters in a narrative they thought they would be starring in. It's like showing up to audition for the lead role and discovering you're actually trying out to be background dancer number 3. This reality extends beyond just Van Lith to include numerous talented players who are discovering that individual excellence doesn't guarantee individual recognition, especially when one player commands 90% of the attention and the remaining players compete for the leftover 10%. The competitive aspect becomes particularly challenging because Van Lith isn't competing just against Clark's basketball skills. She's competing against Clark's ability to generate interest, sell tickets, and create television content that people actually want to watch. These are completely different skill sets that don't necessarily correlate with traditional basketball talents. That the financial margins are smaller and the effects more pronounced, meaning that star power disparities have more immediate and dramatic consequences for players who find themselves in supporting roles. Van Lith's emotional response reflects broader challenges that many professional athletes face when their expectations about their careers don't align with the realities of professional sports competition and entertainment business dynamics. The transition from being a college star with significant attention and recognition to being a professional player competing for limited spotlight can be psychologically difficult, particularly for players who built their identities around being featured performers. Professional sports psychology includes understanding how athletes cope with role changes, reduced attention, and the realization that their importance within their sport might be different than they anticipated during their amateur careers. The pressure to maintain confidence and competitive drive while adjusting to different roles and expectations requires mental resilience and perspective that aren't always developed during college athletics, where most elite players receive substantial attention and recognition. Van Lith's situation with the Washington Mystics involves learning to contribute effectively to team success while managing personal disappointment about individual recognition and career expectations that may need adjustment based on professional realities. The Mystics organization faces the challenge of supporting a talented player through difficult adjustments while maintaining team chemistry and competitive focus that serves all players and organizational goals rather than individual emotional needs. Professional basketball teams succeed through collective effort and shared sacrifice, which can conflict with individual desires for recognition and status. Roles that some players carry over from their college experiences. The integration of rookies and young players into professional team structures requires careful management of expectations, roles, and emotional support that helps players adapt to their new environments while maintaining competitive drive and team-first attitudes. Sports media coverage often focuses on dramatic storylines and emotional moments that may not accurately represent the complex realities of professional athlete experiences and career development processes. Van Lith's emotional response provides compelling content for media outlets seeking to create narratives about individual struggles and competitive disappointments that generate audience engagement and discussion. The tendency to construct stories around conflict, disappointment, and personal drama can overshadow the more mundane realities of professional athletics, where most challenges are resolved through time, hard work, and gradual adjustment rather than dramatic moments. Television coverage of emotional moments creates additional pressure for athletes who must navigate genuine feelings while managing public perception and professional image in environments where privacy is limited and everything is potential content. Van Lith's career development will likely involve finding ways to contribute effectively to team success while adjusting personal expectations and goals to align with professional realities and opportunities that may differ from her college experience. The WNBA's growth and increasing popularity create opportunities for all players to benefit from expanded attention and resources, even when individual recognition may be unevenly distributed based on factors beyond personal performance and effort. Professional athletics requires ongoing adaptation and resilience as circumstances change and individual roles evolve based on team needs, league dynamics, and the broader entertainment landscape that affects all participants in professional sports. The support systems available to professional athletes include mental health resources, career counseling, and peer mentorship that can help players navigate challenging transitions and maintain perspective during difficult periods. Questions remain about how individual players find fulfillment and success within professional sports environments that may not always provide the recognition or roles they anticipated, and how personal growth and adaptation contribute to long-term career satisfaction. The story of Hailey Van Lith serves as a reminder that even the most confident and talented athletes must sometimes confront the reality that their role in professional sports might be different from what they expected, and that learning to find value and purpose in supporting roles can be just as important as learning to be a star.